people don't understand all the shenanigans that take place behind the scenes.
Yeah, you've gone through this, right?
I've been through it. I've hired and fired. Well, the foundation has hired and fired market makers. You know, they've been approached by liquid token funds. There is just all sorts of nefariousness going on behind the scenes. One of the things that we at Proof of Play pride ourselves on is, you know, I think it's our first or second value is industry leading integrity. Like that's a standard we hold ourselves to. And it's extremely difficult to operate in a space where others don't follow the same set of principles. Like you have teams that are just straight up doing illegal things. Like they're not even like borderline, they're just full illegal, but they're in different locales. And so, or they just have different risk tolerances. And then you have, you know, communities and just like the entirety of the space have eyes on you. And they're like, oh, why don't you also do that? Like, wait, why isn't your
Why don't you crime, Fern?
Yeah, why isn't your token pumping like nonstop? It's like, well, because what you're seeing there is like inorganic, potentially illegal activity. And we're not willing to do that. Like my job is not to go to jail to enrich you. Like my job is to build something of value that hopefully others enjoy, want to take part in, and therefore they think they see their value and they want to buy it. It's old fashioned, it's boring. Maybe it doesn't work, to be perfectly frank, in this space. Like maybe you have to have a bit of like Joker in you if you want to survive. But at the end of the day, like I'm a doxed person, you know, like my reputation is the most important thing to me. Like our team's reputations are the most important things to us. And it's much more important that we operate and are able to sleep well at night and operate with high integrity than make short-term decisions that have long-term negative implications. And there's other teams that make the opposite decision, right? And that's totally fine, but it's hard to coexist in a place where it's such an uneven playing ground. And every time a news story like this comes out, people are seeing more and more of what's happening behind the scenes, like the Kessler, the Solana, like Radium, Jupiter, like this is all happening all the time. Like I didn't know anything about the Solana stuff. It's not my ecosystem, but I knew it was happening. I didn't know what was happening, but I knew something was happening. But I couldn't. Now I know. Now we all know.
Yeah, maybe there's something you can give color to, like the movement's been shrouded in a lot of these controversies, and like the default now, I think, is people are just assuming that they are the ones that are guilty of all of this. Where it's like, oh, there's no way that movement didn't know about the market maker doing the thing because of the whatever. So maybe the color you could provide is like, is it plausible that people go rogue? Like you had, maybe in your own experience, you had agreements with a market maker that acted on their own interests and outside of what you knew they were going to do, and therefore that leads you to the next thing. Like, okay, we gotta rectify this.
A market maker's job is to make money for itself. Its business is not to you, it's to its LPs or to its proprietary fund, however they're set up. They have agreements with the teams they're working with, but ultimately, if those agreements will make them less money than decisions that they would be making that are counter to your own interests, they're going to make those decisions. And there's the only recourse you have is to remove them, and no longer work with them.
It's all about incentives, huh?
You can try to align incentives really well, but there's always going to be an ARB, and if there is an ARB, they will take it.